This is something pretty neat that is a good, okay, cool. Something pretty neat I came across out looking around a little bit. This is meant to be a bulletin board for grade school math, but it actually follows our programming concepts pretty closely, which is why I'm going to take a little time today to just talk about planning out a project. One of the most important things to do when you're planning out a project is to make sure you're working backwards. Know where you want to be. How you get there is sometimes working backwards. So let's say I want to know for sure I want to build a program that calculates how much to leave a tip at a restaurant. I know what I want the end result to be. I want the end result to be an accurate tip. But now I need to work backwards to know how to get there. With that in mind, I'm going to be looking for different patterns. Maybe a lot of the different things in the program work the same. Maybe when one process is done, then the next process naturally occurs. The more complicated our programs get, the more we're going to really put an emphasis on looking for a pattern. From there, we want to draw a picture. Every program we do, I want something drawn in paint, on a sheet of paper, on the back of a gum wrapper. Okay, no tattoos, but we do want to make sure that you're drawing a picture of some kind to know how to identify with the program and to know kind of how it should look, where things should go. Same with websites. From there, we want to use logical reasoning. If we are able to keep things as small and minimal as possible, especially when we get into variable naming and working with different parts of projects like that, that is ideal. Keep things logical, and in the logic part, which is a huge part of programming, remember, code always reads from top to bottom, left to right. So you cannot have an important part halfway down the code that needs to happen way back up top. It needs to follow sequence and needs to call on things in sequence. Again, the more complicated our programs get, the more of an emphasis we're going to place on that. This one down here, guess and check. There's a lot of times that we may not completely know how something is going to work. It is okay to make a guess at it, run the program, and see what the end result is. If it's not right, then we just have to go fix it. And a lot of that, the use logical reasoning and the guess and check, work hand in hand together pretty well. Finally, next to finally, make a table or chart. That kind of actually ties in this instance with drawing a picture. You may need to make a table or chart, especially when we get into arrays where things are not sorting or being placed in the same spot or in the correct spot at the right time. That's where drawing a table, in addition to how the program looks, drawing a table, drawing out what the program should be doing, what it is doing, seeing if we can find the correct spot for it. You'll see. I know that was a little confusing, but you'll see. And then finally, make an organized list. Making sure all, especially when you get into variable naming, your variable names are organized. Keeping parts of the program, how it should work in a nice organized list. A lot of this deals with just planning out your project. The main emphasis I want to put on is drawing a picture and making an organized list that you know what it's supposed to do, what your variables are named, how they are named. It doesn't always hurt to have like your variable names on a little side scrap sheet of paper. So then when you're down deeper into the program, you're able to just look at that sheet real quick, refer back to it. As well as drawing a picture. In Visual Basic, you can get away with that a little bit more because you are able to go back and change the visual part real easily. With Java and advanced programming, not so much. Let's make sure we're drawing pictures. This is going to be up all year, this bulletin board, so you're able to always refer to it, as well as these steps below.